Motion to open?
Second.
Yeah. Okay, okay.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay.
Okay, facilities update. A couple of things have happened. DPW went up to West Road because we had a tree going up to fields 1, 2, and 3. And there was a kind of a tree across, and it was requested they go up and help. And they've been great, they've been fantastic. Not only did they get the tree down, but they cleaned underneath the
Guardrail?
guardrail, thank you. And it looks great. It's like
Nice.
I was up there today and looked down, I said, wow, that looks really good, so. That looks just wonderful, I think. I worked with Sid today and we fertilized, and put down pre-emergent crabgrass killer. If you tend to your own lawn, it is now time to put down the pre-emergent crabgrass killer. If you wait and the crabgrass comes up, nothing will kill it other than strong stuff. So Sid has already done all of the fields, Laffa Fields, Nelson Road, and all the fields at West Road with the, it's not the aerator,
Thatcher?
Aerovator.
yeah,
Yep.
the arrow, and then he got the thatch off and he did that, and then today, we were gonna do it over 2 days, but we only had one good day this week supposedly. So we got down, I don't know, about 80 bags of fertilizer, and it's got the pre-emergent crabgrass killer in it, so.
Women tonight, yay.
We have new tennis nets that have been installed. All of our, the facilities are basically ready to go. West Road's been getting a lot of use. Some of the high school fields are, practice fields are like in awful shape. So we're trying to help them out.
And I'll speak to that because my daughter's one of the recipients that they're so grateful that Sid and Art worked with them. So there's
Well,
no
and
thank you.
here's the thing, normally people go on the field and that's done deal. And good, have fun, do what you gotta do. And so, it's like 8:15 at night one night, and my phone starts pinging. And I'm checking it's from the town email, and I'm thinking like, okay, something happened, I start checking them. I think I got like 16, 17
Good.
emails from the girls that play lacrosse, thanking us. So I started out, the first one, I was like, oh, thank you so much, good luck with your season, our pleasure, I hope you play, blah, 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 blah.
Then you give up.
And by the end, I'm getting to goal answers, exclamation.
They don't care.
I want to say by the end there were probably about 30 or so.
Yeah,
Art was like, I responded.
I'm actually,
I said, thank you,
Nice.
Art.
I'm gonna tell the coach because I'm really happy
Yeah,
that
that was
they.
great. It was
Well,
nice.
Thank you
and then
guys.
Nice gesture by
I
them.
looked at the names, and I recognized so many of the names, and the coach's father was the president of
Durham, yeah.
lacrosse, and I remember him
Yeah.
when they had a tournament, and he's emptying barrels because there weren't enough. He was taking the barrels in a thing and putting them up into the dumpster, and nobody would help him, but he kept doing it. So, I mean, they're all our kids, I guess, is the way it goes. So that was nice that we got the emails. I just wish it wouldn't have happened at 8:15 because. Like from about 8:15 to 9 o'clock, I'm trying to answer them because they, so.
You're all good.
One other thing, before I forget, I just thought of this. Eagle Scout Project, a girl at the high school who was a freshman, I thought she was a junior after I had talked to her, came to me when I was the acting town manager and asked if she could do a project putting up nests, or houses for owl houses.
Really?
And I always ask kids who can do Eagle Scouts, well, what year are you in school? Because sometimes they have to get it done by the time they're 18. So if they're starting their senior year and they're coming to you like in December saying it's gonna be a rush job. And Doug is an Eagle Scout, so I get some guidance from Doug. And, but this kid's doing all the stuff. She got stuff signed, she's ready to go, and I think it's
Awesome.
fantastic.
That's awesome.
Girls can be Eagle Scouts?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, they took down the gender lines,
Okay.
Yeah.
so.
Good.
Equipment, all of our regular equipment has all been, the mowers and little things we drive around in and stuff, they've all been, serviced, and they're all doing great. We got new picnic tables
You
Okay.
did.
at
I
the
saw them.
Nelson. So we got the town council had some money, and Doug headed that up, so
Great.
we are,
Tables plural?
There's 8 of them. Yeah. So there's 4 handicap accessible, and then 4 round tables. So
And where
and
where
they're
are
up
they?
at the tennis courts. So they're in the new park area that DPW cleared last year, and as well as the green space that was existing.
No?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you haven't seen that by the tennis courts, again, DPW went up, and I'm not kidding now when I've said since like 1990, I've been trying to get that area cleaned up. Because there's some big trees, it was over, pop, 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 pop. It's done. And I didn't have to cut anything or do anything, but DPW guys went up there, and they were great. The crew went up there, they didn't spend that much time, but when you get all the equipment,
Yeah, it
Makes
makes
it-
life a lot easier, right?
makes it much easier,
I
so.
like working across, you know, across
Departments, yeah.
Departments,
Yep.
yeah, that's great.
They assembled and dropped off the tables too, so that was nice.
Nice,
Yeah,
and
so-
they're also, the high school's putting up, did you tell them about Cassie's project that she did?
Oh, the backboard.
Yes,
So the high school's
Yeah.
gonna take care of that.
well, the other
Again,
thing that
departments working together, which is nice.
Jay Hayes passed away. Jay Hayes was a student at the high school, graduated, I don't remember the year. He was a tennis player, he played football. I remember I was coaching then, and Jay Hayes was not the typical person you would think of as a football player. He was very kind, soft-spoken, and smallish. So we're playing somebody, I don't know who we're playing, and I'm down on the sideline, and Coach Lozon calls a slant pass to Jay Hayes down on the goal, down by the goal line. Boom, boom, touchdown Jay Hayes. It was a high point of my career because he's a kid who worked his tail off. And he was a tennis player, so, certain young person that was friends with Jay did a fundraiser and has raised how much? I can't remember how much she raised.
A lot.
A lot, yeah.
A lot.
A
Put up,
lot.
started out with just wanting a little bench and then a backstop, and the money just kept, and I talked with her and she was just so, yeah, we're gonna
Well,
raise a
we'll
lot of
take
money. We're gonna raise a lot of money, we're gonna raise a lot of money. So,
Where's the bench and the backstop?
but, yeah, there's gonna be a new backstop going in, and then there's gonna be a bench,
So court 3 isn't the new
Right.
one. Court 4 already has a back.
Okay.
yeah, but it's gonna be on the
The
lower
tennis
one.
courts.
Yeah,
Okay.
on the lower one, and there's gonna be an inscription for Jay.
There's
who
no
was-
bench at
Nice.
this point, is there?
The bench is ordered, so I don't know when that's coming, but the
Oh.
backboard's gonna be done Saturday, so, yeah.
So there'll be a
Now,
bench
is the
overlooking
school
court
district
3.
who's putting up the backboard?
So
The
she-
school, the high school.
No, it's not high school. So, she's got some high school kids that are gonna help lift it off, but
Did she
she's
talk with
hired-
Russ Greenwood?
I thought Jeff was gonna, he was gonna do that, Jimmy. Said he was doing that.
He was trying, but it was hard for him to find somebody. So she hired somebody from where I work, 2 maintenance guys that are gonna come and do it, and she's gonna pay them. So, and then her boyfriend and his brother, they're all gonna do it this Saturday. So,
And
yeah.
she got okay, I get the phone call, well, the thing weighs 1,200 pounds, and I'm thinking like, how the hell are we gonna get 1,200 pounds off the truck?
Well, she was gonna have it delivered to my house. I'm like,
But-
okay, where are we gonna put it?
Well, but then it's a bunch of pieces.
Oh, so you take the box apart.
So, yeah,
take it all out.
you take it piece by piece, and each piece is probably gonna weigh a couple of 100 pounds. So I had called Russ Greenwood, football coach, saying, hey, I need some of your boys again. They're the ones that did all the work with the wood chips at the playground.
Nice.
So, yeah, it took us, what, an hour and a half to spread the wood chips, and without the high school kids, we would've, Doug and I would've been up there today with rakes and shovels. So, so Jay Hayes was just a great kid, and I understand how your daughter raised so much money, because he was such a great kid, and just, it's very sad. So, picnic table, okay, that's all I got for old stuff. Oh, budget, I didn't hit budget. Big news is our budget passed, the town's budget passed, so we're not in the default, which is good. We did have some kind of glitch, but that was not, I'm not sure what caused it, but I think it was because we were switching over something or other. And at one point, it showed us having spent 90% of our budget or some ridiculous thing. So we hit a little bit of the panic stage. And then we talked to finance. No, it's okay. We know where it is. And so we're all set. So we're online. We're where we should be. And the reason I was a little bit miffed about it was that I watch it the whole year. So that, like, if I'm not overspending for 8 months, 9, I shouldn't be, spending up here. I should be right about here, and that's where we were. So we are okay with that. So it was
So we
good.
got the $20,000,
Yeah, it was which,
that 20,000 extra that we were gonna get the
The
Recreation
capital
Commission.
reserve.
oh,
Yeah.
we have,
It doubled. Yeah, it went from 10
Yeah.
to 20,000.
so yes, that got approved also.
Okay,
So we have, and that is just for, like, last time we used that when a mower just died. And,
What about the pump stuff? Or is
Yeah,
that not
we-
operational.
we're gonna have to wait and see how close we get,
Mhm.
you know? And that was my big concern, because we had that big clump of money we spent.
Mhm.
And that should have come out of the capital reserve, but if it doesn't have to,
Good.
we are.
so we don't have that money allotted to anything yet.
No, it has to be approved by the town council. In order to use that money, we have to make a request, and the town council has to approve it. We can't just, it's not like a fund, we can just say, oh, yeah, we need this, so we're gonna go buy this, okay? Town council has to approve it. But we're okay.
Wait for me.
Update from Doug.
Okay, I'm going to be coming with a lot of numbers, but that's because I think since last time we were kind of at the tail end of winter programs and spring has taken off, so we're about halfway through the spring season with those programs taking place. But so right now, spring ongoing, the ever popular dodgeball has 72 kids, plus times 2 that with the number of parents that stay in the gym to watch. So it's always a very entertaining weekly Friday program. So that one's always taking off. That'll wrap up in the end of May, and then we take a break until the next school year. We did get a new 5-week basketball clinic going with 12 participants, so I was glad to get that off and running too. They were looking for 8, so the fact that we got 12, that started last Friday. We've got a few more spring programs still open. Tennis, which closes in a few weeks, so there's two offerings for that through the USTA. The younger group is actually full right now with collecting a wait list. If we can get enough numbers, we can get an additional instructor to keep expanding that program. Then we've got our track programs, which right now have numbers that are higher than last year. Our intro to track, that's our young kids, 5 to 8, have 28 kids. And then when Grand State Track and Field, that's at the state level, has 11. So our team has grown in that respect too. That's a committee I'm on for the state as well, so I'm glad to see that Londonderry, I'm not surprised, but the numbers keep increasing with most of those programs. Summer-wise, that's advertised during the spring as well, just because we have to get ahead of it, so everything started back in February. But our summer playground program, which we have changed this year to have a full-day option, we have 200 total kids already sign up for that program.
How many?
200.
Wow.
And 177 took advantage of full-day options, so it's clearly was a need. And then the rest are all mostly morning only, so similar to what they probably would have done last year.
And what's the fee for that?
That's $250 for one kid, and then it incrementally goes down if there's two or 3 or more children to try to make it as affordable as possible.
That was the overwhelming,
Sorry?
Do you have to hire a lot of people for
So
that?
yeah, so staffing numbers, we doubled our staffing to, we have 14 total counselors this year for that, and with room to expand if needed. I mean, the increase in fee was to also pay for the additional staffing needs and the additional aspects that we added to that camp. So we've got a number of entertainers already set up for each week. Police department's going to come as well, be part of that. The Leach Library is involved again this year. We have a free lunch service that we use through Heaven's Kitchen. They came last year, but this year we're able to kind of put it into the registration process so people can tell us what they need, food allergies, what days they need it. So it's much easier to let them know too the priority of how many meals are needed. So that service is there too, you know, as well as people being able to bring lunches. And we're hoping to do pizza, you know, Pizza Fridays, add some different features that haven't been done in the
And
past.
where will that be?
That's at the South School this year. Yep. So we were at Matthew Thornton last year. We'll be at South.
The big thing that the parents wanted was not have to go home at noontime.
That was going on when my kids went.
That was
Well,
when I was there
it's-
Wish they
too.
were complaining about it.
It's been going on since 1977.
Well, 'cause then your kids won't go back, and
I
you're
think,
like,
so,
I want you to go back.
yeah.
So
It was
So
always
that-
too hot.
That's awesome.
So those numbers are great. Voyager Camp last year this is its second year. So right now I'm maxed out at 75 participants in that. They don't all go on every trip, but
Which camp?
that's the Voyager Camp for the 11 and
Voyager.
15-year-olds.
The other ones?
That's the field trip based. I have a wait list with 25 on there too.
awesome.
So that's one. If I can get additional staffing, I can continue to open up that as long as we can. It's only one bus. Getting into 2 buses could be difficult with the staffing numbers we have right now. But
How many field trips do you do? And
we're doing 18 this year.
18?
Mm-hmm. So we do 2 to 3 a week for over the 7 weeks. Yep.
How
Wow.
many kids in a bus?
How much is that?
150?
So that varies. So there's a registration fee to get you into the program, and then they get to choose which trips they want to go on. So it can go. I think if you went on every trip, I think it was $610 to go on every single trip for the 18
So
trips.
you bus
Which
them
really
out
isn't
of
a lot of
middle
money
school,
with
or-
camps.
What's that?
You bus them out of middle
It's
school?
not.
No, we meet in the Matthew
Private
Thornton
camp I
parking
don't
lot.
care about. This is taxpayer dollars, so I'm more curious as to, does that cover the cost?
It's not taxpayer. It all goes revolving fund. So all money comes in
Comes in
from the people that
Yeah.
pay, goes in
All
the revolving
user
fund, goes
funded.
back. It's all user fees. So registration fees, that pays for our staffing, it pays for the buses. None of it's taxpayer dollars.
$610 isn't that
No.
That's what you
What's-
pay for a week now.
What's the
Places.
registration?
though?
fee?
Right. so
55.
That's what I'm thinking, that's pretty good.
So
Well,
I would never
it,
pay
it,
it.
if anybody says it's a lot, they don't have to sign up.
Right,
Right.
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 Well, I
And-
just wanted
but-
to understand how it worked. I didn't understand.
No, but I mean, for the number of kids that have signed up for this, the demographics of our summer playground program changed. Back 80s and 90s, we had a lot of kids 10 through 13. And those numbers, those ages gradually got younger and younger. In taking first, second, third graders on field trips, it's
No.
no, no.
You need a lot of staff.
No.
yeah.
It just doesn't work, so
Yeah.
this, and we were kind of leaving out, and then Doug came up with with the
And
Voyager camp, and it works out, and the kids love it.
I just want to be careful because I look at other towns' rec departments and all their programs, and the budgets always end up costing way more than what they're bringing
so
in. I
you
mean,
go to
this
look
is
to
good
at
if
other
you're controlling
towns
it.
where, and just speaking from youth sports, that some of them run the youth sports, all the registrations and everything, and I imagine, because I've had to deal with the other towns trying to schedule our sports, but I'll say for this, I mean, I'm one that has a child of this age, it sounds expensive, but when you're looking at $300-400 a week full-time anyways, and it's just, you know, a kid that you
Yeah,
really
it
can't
sounds
send to
great.
camp, but you don't want to leave them alone every day, so if you work full-time, this is, that's what I would assume it's, or you only want to get your kid, you're home all summer, but wanting to have them do a few things. I think cost-wise, I actually am very impressed.
And that's for all these programs that I'm listing off. These all go through revolving funds, so none of these are taxpayer dollars. So except for currently right now, we're straight on line with the summer playground program for this year with the hopes that as we're increasing those numbers in the revenue, it'll switch over to revolving fund going forward too for staffing. So any excess over what we have budgeted, I think we budgeted for 8. Anything beyond that is revolving fund. So that's how it's got divided up in the budget this year when that was discussed.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yep. Summer Fun Run with Ken Lynch and Nicole Hand. They've been doing that for a number of years. We advertise that for them. It's going through the rec department now. So they've got 13. That'll grow. Last year I think they had 55. So again, they run that for free and daily throughout the summer. They're starting in July. I talked about summer staffing. Right now, Voyager counselor, we have one. Actually did an interview with another one today, so that'll increase. And again, that wait list will open, which is nice because there's a lot of familiar faces on that wait list that didn't take long for it to fill up. So, they didn't think last year it took longer for that program to take off. This year, it was clearly the word has gotten out, so it filled quickly. And speaking of revolving fund, I did have Finance Crunch some numbers, so just so everybody knows. So at the so when that fund was started in September of 23, around then when it was approved, it was $1,000 that they put in there. Last year alone, that the income for this is the income at the end of the year, the revenue was $23,613 and change. So program wise, so that was money that was made last year that now will go back into programs for materials, facility space, transportation. Those part-time staffing, seasonal staffing needs as well. So, and we're seeing so. And then just for context too, at the end of March last year at this time, so this is looking back a couple weeks, we had 395 people registered on the new online system. This year we had 806, so we've doubled how many people are using that platform. So
Can we still fund some scholarships if needed?
I think that's something, we've talked about looking at that going forward too. And
My philosophy has always been, a kid shouldn't miss out because mom and dad are having a tough time.
Yep.
And with lacrosse,
We all, every
Always
sports will give
baseball,
scholarships.
they all do.
They all give scholarships.
And there was only one time that I got a tad aggravated when a mother came in down at South School and asked to be scholarshiped in. And I said, yeah, if you need it, you need it. It's, we're not gonna run an audit on you. It's fine. She got into her BMW SUV and went home.
Sometimes though, because I've had some parents not ask for scholarships, but say, hey, this is what happened, can we have a payment plan? And then we'll just scholarship them.
so
in.
that's something, because we do offer that now. So there's a deadline for when the registration deadline, but people can pay incrementally, so whatever works for them.
Awesome.
So we're able to set that up just to make it,
Yeah, that's
make
just
it
so great.
less of a burden.
But there, I
Yeah.
got calls from grandparents who have custody of the grandkids.
Yeah. And that happens a lot.
And you'd be surprised how many, over the years, various groups in town, and
It's,
it's worked out very well.
yeah, and there's a lot in that, more than you think in this town.
There are.
No, I do know because I was the one who started the pasta program for the YMCA.
It's,
And if you know what that is, it's
I just hear from my
grandparents
kids.
taking care of their kids, whether they're incarcerated or drug problems. You'd be amazed
Yep.
how many
Oh.
kids in Londonderry.
And it's hard
hear all
to,
the
it's hard to
stories
negotiate, navigate the
kids.
system.
Yeah,
to
and that's
get
what
the
this
kids
pasta
need.
is for.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
So you guys should really connect to that pasta program. Also, the upper room runs it as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's
great.
awesome.
So last couple updates, Old Home Day, that we're gonna start to plan for that, at least we're looking at, so for the 126th, I don't have any full details, we're in preliminaries, but that was something Cheerson Hilton and I, took a shot at last year, so right now we're in the early talks of figuring that all out. So that'll be in August, though, August 13th to August 16th currently, so it's listed, so. And the last thing, so I brought these with me, but last week there was a New Hampshire State Conference for Recreation Professionals, and I passed these around, but our department came home with 2 state awards. Posted that today as well. Yeah, so,
Good for you.
so, a lot of collaborative help, but so
Oh, that's
there was the Kim Perkins Award, special event award. I think last time, February was the last meeting. I think we talked about the Teddy Bear Clinic was happening. So it's an event that actually has a generational impact in the community and what it provides. So that's something, I know we've run that twice, and we saw double the numbers for that event this year. So that's one of about 4 or 5 prestigious awards that can be given out at the state level for recreation through the New Hampshire Recreation Parks Association. And the other one was for the Color Run last year at Old Home Day. So that was another first-time event that we had offered. So that picture is from the makeup day. Obviously, we got sunny. We got rained out the first one, but I think we had a little over 50 runners. We were supposed to have about 160, 170.
the Teddy Bear Clinic is something else.
So
What is
just want to
that?
bring those.
Little kids bring in their teddy bears,
Yeah.
and
Did he fix?
there are nurses,
We have volunteer nurses from the VA, Elliott, a few other hospitals that come in. They set up a station, as well as we do an EMT triage station, so they can come in with their stuffed animals. It's to help limit the anxiety that comes with younger kids that might be nervous go to see nurses at the doctor's office. So.
Can I ask a really stupid question as I'm sitting here going, why don't you ever contact the newspaper for any of this stuff?
So I
Ever. Because it comes to me, and I've never seen you send me an email
post it
and say,
online, though.
cover this.
it's posted, and I know Chris and I have talked. Chris has come to some of the programs.
Yeah,
so.
but I'm listening to an Eagle Scout thing, I'm listening to your tennis thing,
It's worthy
I'm
of
listening to your
articles.
teddy bear thing, I'm listening to all this stuff. The only way we find out about stuff is if occasionally we see stuff on Facebook or somebody else tells us. But you never, ever, ever reach out to us to cover this stuff. I'd like to know why.
Well, we actually need to
Why you
make
have a
big
phobia
article.
to the newspaper that's mailed to everybody in this town.
Well,
we
some
don't,
phobia
because-
was whatsoever.
So
I mean,
then why not? I
because
mean,
we
it's
haven't-
an email.
He's new.
He's
Yeah.
not that new.
And I think just time. I think people just forget. Like, I mean, I know that time we honored the coach for saving the life with all the AEDs, all that stuff. Remember the lacrosse coach? We honored the police officer. Like, I didn't contact the newspaper on that on purpose because I didn't know if the person whose life would want it out there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think just some of this, it's a meeting and you're so focused that the big things you post, if you follow Londonderry Rec, it's always there.
But you don't understand. I do 4 newspapers covering 5
I understand you're
towns.
just coming across
And
as
there's 2
aggressive,
people
so I'm
doing
gonna stick up
it,
for
me
him.
and my husband. And it's all I ask is that you send in the information. I'm listening here, and this is great community information.
Yeah, it is.
When you're going to get money to get voted on, guess what people remember? Especially the older people who vote, who aren't looking on Facebook, that aren't looking on social media. You know what they remember? The articles that are in the paper.
That's true.
So when you go and you say you want more money, it's a lot easier when they see what you're doing that's positive in the paper than just saying, oh, we put it out there.
We're working on a long-term plan and we need some.
I'm just,
some
it kind of
marketing.
bothers me, it's
We need
personal,
some, yeah.
because, I mean, I work
Couldn't
really,
everything
really
be
hard
right?
to find out this stuff.
I don't think it's intentional. I think it's, I mean, I've been sitting on this meeting for like a year. I just found out about this backstop thing. And I think it's great, but some of it also doesn't necessarily always, I would say, fall under the rec department, right? Like, we come here and we'll share sports things about the youth sports. It's not, it's, I mean, some of it.
Can we
yes,
get
but
a little rec section for recreation?
that might be the best
That
option,
we can
right?
put in something every week? What's going
Well,
on?
I
People
wouldn't,
send
I
it, it
wouldn't
goes
commit
in.
the rec department
Nobody
to
sends
do any
anything.
kind of
I'm not
work.
gonna do it unless somebody
Why don't we work on
sends it to me.
something? That we
It's
can
just
get
like the
something like a
sporting
weekly
stuff.
update
You
as
say
to
the
what's
sports
going
stuff.
on.
Do you know how many parents call me and say, how come this isn't here, Krista, and cover it? And I go right back and tell them the truth, and I've said it to I've said
Well, and
it
I'll
to you,
speak
Art,
from
right?
being a
The
volunteer.
coaches don't send us anything. Do you know
Oh,
how hard
yeah,
it is
varsity.
even to get the
I know.
rosters from the coaches? I know this isn't you, but I'm just saying, it's just this
I was talking
stigma to
youth
the paper.
sports.
Yeah,
For
but-
some reason, it's
Well,
like,
no, but they're all volunteers, like, it's hard enough to make this meeting once a month, it's.
But-
Well, that's how I look at
Then
it
we get
is,
the time to do
people
the rest.
running the youth sports are all volunteers, and I will speak from being the president on Londonderry Youth Lacrosse. I missed so much I told him, so much of my own kids' stuff, I stopped. There is a lot in the background that you're dealing with, and the last thing I think is, oh, I should tell the paper how great this is. No, I totally forgot, like, we had kids won divisions, you don't think of it. It's not intentional, I think it's just, oh, I forgot, oh well, because it's still another time thing.
I understand.
When you wanna move into
We'll
4
do it
million a
from
year
now
like
on.
Derry, somebody will be able to do that, but we just don't
I,
work that way.
I really disagree with you, and I'm gonna be
Well,
adamant about that,
I've been
because
here for 20 years, so.
I've been in the
I
rec
think we're
department.
great. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's great, good for you. I've
Along
been in
with my
town 30
kids,
years,
and my
only
kids
30
got
years,
through,
but
and-
Okay, so can we
we're
move
all
on?
volunteers.
Yes.
Okay, are you done?
Yeah, I'm also.
Okay.
Now I feel like not.
So we have new stuff in others. We have an open rec position for maintenance.
Good.
The guy that we thought would be the person to replace Sid
Okay.
actually has his own business where he makes like a lot of money as opposed to making what he makes with recreation, and he would love to do it, but he's gotta feed his family. So, he was cutting grass, so we moved Ralph, who was cutting grass, who was cleaning up at Nelson and taking care of the barrels and all that stuff. And we advertised for that position. And we had one applicant.
How many hours a week is it? Have you had to estimate?
It depends how quick they work. They've gotta like get all the barrels in a certain place, clean the barrels, move them around, pick up trash, drag the field. 15, 18 a week.
Okay.
So we did get one applicant. And we've depended upon old retired guys for a long time. And we didn't get anybody that's old and retired. We get a high school kid. Who I personally don't have a problem with a high school kid. We'll do a background on them, and the background would be, I'm gonna call and talk to people to find out, give me some references and I'm gonna make some calls type thing. So, I think this kid will work out.
How did we get him? Did we get him advertising, or did we get him word of mouth, or?
Don't know.
Don't know.
I don't know if somebody talked to his dad and whatever, so. But I've been doing the garbage cans, which is the way I started out this job back in 1983. So I've been moving garbage cans around, and I bring a drill with a drill bit, and tell me why I bring a drill with a drill bit. You'll know the answer.
Yeah, get the water out in the beer.
Over the winter time, they filled with water, and they weigh probably about 400 pounds. Put the drill in, let the water drain, come back and move them later. So I, for one, will be glad when it's
There's a young kid doing it.
a young kid doing it. And we'll show him what he's gonna
Good for
do.
character, right?
Yeah.
It's good for
So, the rec hotline, which has been a staple for years, 437-2675, is going to be defunct.
I didn't even know we had one.
Well, we've had it for years,
It's on
and,
board.
I don't pay attention.
and what happened, why we got this was, I was getting calls on my home line forever and ever, before we had this, and people were calling, and one of my son's friends was in a bad car accident, and he had a lot of damage, and he was over our house, and some guy calls on a Sunday and asks a question, and my son's friend answered him.
That's awesome.
Like, I didn't know what happened. I'm out cooking or whatever, Then the guy called me back and was yelling at me. I said, you call my house and you talk to somebody you don't know and then you listen to him? Well, he had some damage, So we got the rec hotline, and that's gonna go away. I've had the message up now that the rec hotline will be dying, be put to sleep, and I have an extension at Town Hall, 158. Doug has an extension, 159. I prefer to get an email. But either way works. We get notification of that. And the only calls I've gotten recently have been from people trying to sign up with the not being able to get in,
Website.
so I turn them over to,
People need to reset their passwords, so often they
Yeah,
forget what
and
their
it just-
username was.
Listen, that's a common problem.
so what I say to them, look, I'll have Doug call you back because that's a young guy's business, not an old guy's business. The road race at West Road this past weekend went off without a hitch, I gather, and it was spotless today. I had gone down Saturday after the race and there was a pile of stuff, and there's nobody around, and usually they do come back the next day. I was down there this morning and it was gone, so that was good. I don't know how many, the weather wasn't very,
It was horrible.
yeah, it was awful. It was cold and yuck,
Slushy.
so. Laffer opening is this weekend. They're playing some games. They play games before the opening, and then they have an opening. Wildcat football, the flag program is ongoing. They've been using West Road because the area they gave them at the high school to use was underwater. So,
I think they were there this evening,
West or the high school?
on the par 5. I saw a bunch of people down
That's
No.
lacrosse.
no, that's,
there.
yeah,
That was lacrosse?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. The flag football, the little kids, they got like
Oh, okay, little kids.
first, second, third graders, and then fourth or fifth graders. you know. And they've got quite a few kids. I can't remember if it was, I thought it was in the hundreds. So,
Excellent.
the middle school softball field has a ribbon cutting on 4/21.
Yay. Finally.
That is, I believe, the last field of the field study committee, which is not really in existence anymore. That was the one that Bob Lincoln headed up for years and years. And so now the girls playing softball won't have to schlep across Mammoth Road to go up to Laffa to play. I think maybe one of the teams will, or another team will, but they'll have their own home field,
Good.
which is pretty good, and they're having a ribbon cutting on the 21st. So, that's good. And I don't think I have anything else. Unless you wanted to talk about long-range planning, or if you wanted to put it off. We had some suggestions on long-range planning last time, which we'll have to talk to the finance people about. And you work closely with the budget. So one of the suggestions was to have a line item, like for equipment, and then sub-line item, like mowers, to define it more, to delineate the whole thing more.
When we need maintenance, how much?
I don't know if
Now,
that's,
there's Patrick on the budget committee, who is putting in a whole system that he used to write software for Google, and his thing was to analyze data. And so what will happen is they'll now be able to say, you got this lawnmower, right, and it had a warranty on this date, and right before the warranty, you can get it serviced so that it brings it, do you know what I'm saying? Like, he's gonna be keeping track of that. I think that will help Justin a lot when he's
so he
doing
may
the
be
course.
doing, he may
Do
be.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
all of that stuff,
Can
not
he
just
do
lawn,
that?
but the
Can he do
roof.
that for this department, or?
Well, he would probably do it for
Yeah,
everything.
he's gonna do it for everything. He was
So that-
downloading all the old data, year to year, what was spent, and analyzing,
So
okay, on an
We'd
average,
kind
you
of be
spend
spinning
this.
our wheels if we tried to duplicate that, if there's a guy that is actually an expert at it.
Yeah,
Who's
I,
Patrick who?
Patrick Alazim,
Oh, yeah.
he just got elected
Yeah.
to budget because his role at Google has now changed. You know Patrick,
Yeah. He's a smart guy.
beyond smart,
Yeah.
but he's not, like, he's very humble. He's not a, like, I'm smart and you have no idea what I'm talking about kind of guy.
Yeah.
No, but he explains things.
Very
like-
well,
Yeah.
yeah.
If he has to be at this level to explain it, he can. And if he has to be like down here to explain it,
Yes, sir.
you'll get an extra French fry if you buy.
So should somebody from our commission
Well, let him
actually
do his
talk to him
thing.
and
Well,
see what
I
he's
think
doing?
I don't
maybe
think so.
once that gets into the budget and they start, like, he gets that implemented, then I think, like, you guys should be like, how can this work for us?
Yeah. But
How
I
can you
don't,
do a program that
I'm
would
still
work for
guessing
us?
we need the list of equipment. So, do
Well,
we
we
have
already-
an actual line item list of equipment?
what do you mean by a line item
You know,
list?
like.
4 mowers,
Or
3
three
this.
2 this,
Yeah,
whatever.
we have,
Yeah, so that he
We
knows
have-
what to put on for maintenance and everything else.
When it was bought.
yeah,
I'm
but
sure
I
that's
don't think
all
we
in
should
there.
approach him, because if he's doing this, and I don't know him very well, but my guess is he's gonna do it for the whole town. So if every department approaches him, that's gonna be like overstimulation. Let the guy do his thing and then see what happens.
Well,
And if it works,
Yeah,
it works. Then
Right,
he can adjust.
but we still need that list, right, that we're working off of anyways, do we? I mean, as far as his program, that's
We
one
only
thing.
have like a dozen pieces of equipment,
You do?
so it's not.
For the whole
I
town?
can name them all if you
Yeah.
want. but-
and he could probably tell you when they were bought, when they were fixed, and how
I
much.
can't
they
even
have
tell
left
you
in.
about sprinkler heads
Wow.
and
Yeah,
how
the
many
sprink-
and how long
actually-
they are there
Believe it or
and
not,
how many need to be replaced.
sprinkler heads have been a big problem. Last year, we spent a lot of time and money on sprinkler heads.
Yeah, field 6 and 7
And 6 and 7, and at Laffa Fields, which
Yeah.
is Pennachuck water, which is supposed to be clean, but
No.
they get clogged. And we couldn't figure that one out, so. But I think once this goes through, if he does this, then I think it'll just be like putting every department in.
Yeah, then it's
So-
just a matter of maintaining.
Yeah, yeah. And we have all of our stuff that we have, our mowers, our with slicer cedar, the other little stuff, the, whatever you call them, little vehicle we drive around, what do you call that?
Oh,
Gator.
the utility
The
vehicle.
gators, but it's not a gator, a
It's
utility
easier to
vehicle.
call it a gator.
Yeah, we maintain those very well. Sid is very picky about that to make sure, because like, the example I always use is, we have a little gator, and our gator was like 11, 12 years old. And the one